How you doing, folks? Welcome to another episode of your Christmas cooking with Nick and myself, Mark Eggs. My voice is going a bit, so I won't be shouting or talking as much. And today we're going to do stuffing, and Nick is also going to do his signature gravy. So again, for Christmas Day, one of the big things is stuffing. So that's what we're going to do. How are you, Nick? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm not bad, but I thought you had too, Mark, and I definitely shouldn't have given you that kiss last week.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can catch up with Zoom, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, I have actually got a tune for you this time. But you know this one?
Of course. It's the national anthem in Ireland at Christmas.
The greatest tune at Christmas of all time.
With Shane MacGowan.
The Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues. Love it.
Love it. And so we're going to do this. I think stuffing first. Is that right? So if you want, tell me what you want me to do. I've done one already, which I have on, and I'll show people. I'll show people that when I'm nearly finished.
And I'll do it with you as well, because I could do with some extra stuffing. Well, according to my wife, I need to be stuffed more, but there you go.
Yeah, but what she means is she's waiting till you die.
To Frank, Mark, I think she needs to be stuffed more, but let's not go into that. Well, I've got my favourite mixing bowl here, all ready for it as well.
Great. I have my tin one.
Okay, so it really doesn't matter too much about the order, but the most important thing is you've got to grate your onion. Now,
yeah. Right, so you want to grate the onion?
Absolutely. So take the skin off.
Yeah, I have. I've done all that.
And then you can cut it in half. It might make it easier to grate. And we're literally going to plough through that bit of grating. Now, the recipe calls for, well, I think it's actually asking for one onion. And then you multiply it depending on how big your bird is. So if you've got a big bird, you need to obviously increase your stuffing.
Yeah.
A big bird needs a lot more stuffing than a little bird.
Right, and like from your experience, like a lot of people wonder, should they stuff the turkey? Should they not stuff the turkey? Should they stuff it at the beginning? Should they do it? What do you recommend?
Well, I recommend stuffing it so long as you can take the temperature all the way through the bird. So, for example, I have these thermo pens, and you can get different types. I mean, you can pay a £5 for one, or you can pay £70. It really depends. But this will go in, and then you can check that your temperature is correct. And when you push it through into the stuffing or into the thigh of the bird all the way through, your juices should run clear. But there's nothing better than checking with this. Now, there's an exact temperature which you're going to ask me for as to when that bird is cooked, and I believe it's 74 degrees. But of course, I've got everything all over the place in my kitchen, so excuse me 2 seconds while you're talking amongst yourselves, and I'll tell you exactly the temperature for that chicken or turkey. Yes, I was right, 74 degrees. That's what it's got to go to. Often it increases when you take it out when it's fully cooked. I don't know about you guys, but what I like to do, I stuff the main cavity and I stuff the neck cavity. And this year I'm stuffing the main cavity with just the general stuffing that I do, which is my mum's stuffing, which everybody loves. But the neck cavity, I'm doing a Mark Biggs special, everybody. I'm adding in your secret ingredient, Mark.
The cranberries.
Yeah, the cranberry sauce is going in, mixed up with the stuffing that I'm putting in the main section, but into the next section. And I think that's going to be delicious. So that's what I'm doing.
The thing about the cranberries, people who know me, we usually have about, I think this year we have 19 people. So the most we've had within it is 28. And this year I think it's 19. I always, for about 3 weeks to 4 weeks before Christmas, every time I go to shops, if I see a different jar of cranberry, I buy it.
I want to show you something.
Yeah, go on. Now my wife Anne Marie makes her own cranberry sauce, which is absolutely fantastic as well.
Now I've got something here. It's Swedish. Lingonberry.
Yes, I've seen them in IKEA.
Yes. If you've ever tried it, it's a different type of take to the cranberry. And I like to use it in my leftover pie that I do after Christmas with the cold turkey and the
Yes.
spread it all over the top and then put the pastry down. But it's a good one.
It's really good. And the other good thing that we do too, like we stuff the turkey as well, with the stuffing, but we also make a few extra portions in tin foil because everyone loves stuffing. If it's done right, everyone loves stuffing.
Here's my view, Mark, that if it's in the turkey, you're going to get the turkey juices as well. But do you know what? The stuffing, if it's made really nicely, can be just as good if you make it in a heat-proof dish. So
yeah, well, I usually use I buy the tin foil dishes, and I have one even for the turkey and for putting the baked potatoes or the croquets in, because it's tin foil and it's just a dish. The heat is in there and it's come back out again, going back in, come back out, and it's a great way. I find it's better than using the metal tins.
Yeah, and do you know what? If you want to give it some more flavour, you can always pour a bit of the turkey fat or gravy over it as it's.
Yeah. So tell me, what we do with the onion?
Right.
You want me to grate it?
Grate the onion straight into the bowl, but mind your fingers when you're grating it. Doesn't matter if you waste a little bit at the end, but be careful. Of course, I cheat a little bit, and I suppose all chefs are a bit like this. So while you're working really hard and possibly even crying, I've actually stuck some of my onions. I didn't even grate them. I stuck them straight into my Thermomix, which is just a food processor, and yep, mine are done. But I like to see Mark work a little bit every now and then. So
he cheats.
Yeah,
he cheats. And the other thing is, there's a reason we call Nick Four Fingers Nick.
4 fingers.
Yeah. So I graded all that.
Years ago, I had a doctor. I was a child, and he would always show me this trick. He'd bend his thumb in like this.
Yeah.
He'd have a thumb there, and he'd go like this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So 4 fingers, half a thumb. Yeah, but I do tend to haven't chopped anything off yet. So how's your onions going there, Mark?
My onions are done. I'm just chopping up a bit that's left, so there's no waste. Hold on a second now.
It doesn't matter if they're chopped, because it all goes pretty nicely into the bird when it's all mixed up together, and as it cooks down, it becomes really nice.
Right, my onions are done.
Okay, now we've been talking about the different types of fat we can put in with this.
Yes. Now I don't really use goose fat. So this is the first time I've used goose fat.
What fat have you got?
Goose.
Fabulous. So goose fat straight into the bowl.
If someone's taking it out of a tin, how many teaspoons would you recommend?
Right, so you've got 1 onion. I'd use half of that, which is probably about 3 tablespoons, I imagine.
3, okay.
If you're taking it straight out the fridge, it's very hard, so you'll have to kind of like scrape it out with a small spoon.
Yeah.
Or wait for it to go soft. So you've got 3 teaspoons in with your onion. Now we're going to put our fat in. Now that fat, it can be chicken fat, goose like you've just done already, or I'm going to use butter because it was readily available, and in it goes.
Right, okay. So my goose fat is instead of butter.
You can use, I mean, I like goose fat best, but you could use beef dripping. You could use the lard, and you could use butter. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't affect the flavour too much, but obviously you're going to get some special flavours from goose. And, now what we're going to do is add some of our seasoning. So we've got pepper.
Yeah, I got your pepper. Hold on.
quarter a teaspoon of pepper in. And half a teaspoon of salt. Now, I think you've now got your breadcrumbs, haven't you, Mark?
Oh, hold on.
Yep, brilliant. Now, you don't have to use breadcrumbs. You've got a choice here. I'm using flour. You're using breadcrumbs. It's going to come to a very similar consistency. So let's dump those in.
Yeah.
And then I may possibly cheat a little bit because what I'm going to do is bung my whole ingredients into my Thermomix and give it a blast.
That is cheating.
Stir it all up. And then very similar to pastry, Mark, if you roll your sleeves up, get your hands inside there and give it a good squeeze. So we're rubbing all the fat in together. I mean, I'm going to give it a squeeze anyway with my hands because I enjoy that. But I'm also now going to put it straight into my Thermomix, pouring it all the way over the work surface like I like to do, all the way over me like I also like to do. And it's all coming out. There, lovely.
Now, folks, if you can't afford a mixer, you can do what I'm doing. Just do it by hand.
Now, I'm a bit lazy like a lot of chefs. And
Now, the good thing about this is a great way to get the kids involved in the Christmas dinner, making the stuffing and doing it by hand and showing them.
With the onions, but they can get their hands in there, give everything a lovely squeeze. I mean, they love getting their hands in there, don't they, children? Now, I'm going to blast this in a minute, and you guys are going to hear quite a lot of noise because it's the noisiest appliance, I think, in the kitchen. In a commercial kitchen, it's probably the noisiest.
Yeah.
And the domestic. And here we go. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can. No. Have you got it on silent?
I just do that, have a little look. I'll probably have to give it a bit of a stir and then do it again. Now, how's yours looking?
Yeah, mine's looking good. There you go.
Oh my God. And
Happy
mine
with that?
too.
Are you happy with that?
I am.
So you don't use the flour. I have flour ready. So you use flour or the breadcrumbs.
I use flour or breadcrumbs or mashed up or blitzed up, I should say, crackers. Anything you've got really works really nicely with this. Now,
yeah,
you'll see that my mixture is doughy because I use the flour and your mixture is dry and it doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do now with this lovely, I mean, it smells delicious. Have you smelt it?
I've had a cold for a week. I can't smell anything.
I can just about smell. I had so I'm going to add my cranberry into this because it looks really nice.
So you're okay. Now, I want if you don't shortly, I'll show you the cranberries. Yeah. So
how much cranberry do you put in?
Well, I did one a little while ago. I put in half a jar. So my jar is this jar is 340 grams. So I put in about 140, 150 grams. Look, if you like cranberry, there's no rules. What I usually do is I usually put them in the container and then I lay the cranberry out like a blanket on top of it, so that when it's cooking, the cranberry juices go right through the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm like you. I totally agree. It's really a case of like trial and error and putting in what you feel is best. You can't go wrong.
And the good thing is, a lot of people wouldn't have want to taste this, so I'll make your suffering it tastes even better. And if you put it inside the bird, then the juices from the cranberry are going to go through the skin as well, which will give some of the meat a lovely taste.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look what I've got.
Oh, fantastic.
And that will cook down don't forget it's in there a hell of a long time and really tastes quite nice. So that is our stuffing, isn't it? And Mark, it's worth mentioning to people, you can put this away now in the freezer, defrost it the day before, and you've got your stuffing all ready for Christmas.
Yeah, and that's another question, Nick. A lot of people would ask you probably, how long do you recommend cooking a turkey? What is the formula based on pounds weight?
And that's something I look up every year because I never remember. But it absolutely depends on the poundage of the bird, but you must weigh it when you've got your stuffing in there. It's no good weighing it, sticking a stuffing in, and then going back to the old weight. It's got to be when it's full of the stuffing, otherwise it just won't cook. And I'll give you
very true.
2 seconds. Just go with my hands.
Just to say, also to say to people, a lot of people don't have a lot of room in their oven at Christmas time, so you can't put a lot of containers into it. So what we do is we use the tin foil. So we literally put the stuffing onto the tin foil, and we make it into like a little parsnip, and that way you have much more space in the oven.
Absolutely. Excuse
So
me, 2 seconds.
There's that parcel going in. So it means you're not using a container and you have your parcel going in there.
With you, I'm just coming over in 2 seconds.
Yeah, you walk away. I reckon you're just getting the makeup people to make you look better. Now, I'm going to have a look at the one that, as long as they're on now. What time? Where's my watch is gone.
Right, so here we are.
14:20. So I have one in about 20 minutes now. Probably another 10 minutes. I'm going to show you what it looks like, folks. So, but in that time, Nick is going to show us his gravy.
I am indeed. Now we've got some 300. Put your turkey in 350 degrees. That's an old one. 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, I like to cook my turkey really fairly low and slow, but for a 2 to 3 hour cook, 8 to 12 pounds turkey, that's going to be, if it's stuffed, it will take you between 3 and 3.5 hours.
Yeah, good.
A rough rule of thumb is 15 minutes per pound for a stuffed bird.
And your stuffing on its own, our stuffing on its own usually takes the guts of an hour to cook, realistically.
And you know what? There's no real rule of thumb because you have to go by the temperature. That temperature gauge, the thermopen, you stick it in and make sure that has got to 74 degrees centigrade, because if it doesn't, it's no good. Now, 175 is for a reasonably fast cook at 3 to 3.5 hours, 175 centigrade, but you can cook a turkey much slower. So
yeah, we do ours slow because we put it on when we get up on Christmas morning.
I do as well, and I would advise people to look online really for those for that timing, because it can take you 6 or 7 hours sometimes.
And also, if you're buying it, as Nick said last week, if you're buying your turkey from your local butcher, they will tell you exactly timings, because they're fantastic people for giving advice on how long things take.
You know what? Sometimes if you get a welfare turkey, it does cook differently to other turkeys. And again, you need to really find out what type of turkey you've got before you start cooking it. But right at the end of the cook, say the last hour, you open up. I mean, mine is covered with silver foil.
Yeah.
And I open it all up to get that lovely browning on crispiness of the skin over the top. And some people like bacon over the top of it as well, if that's what you like to do, etc. No problems.
And what would you recommend for getting the ideal cut of the turkey? Like, would you recommend people leaving it standing for a while?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely crucial. If you don't let your turkey stand, it's like all meat. The juices will run. And you want the juice in the meat.
Right.
When the turkey comes out, honestly, leave it for 3 hours.
Would you leave it that long standing?
The heat stays in it. It will actually increase in heat.
So are you when you take it out there, if anyone listening, do you still have it covered in the tin foil, or have you taken the tin foil off, leaving it standing? How is it standing in your definition?
Right, standing in my definition would be to close it back up with the silver foil and just leave it.
Right, okay.
First hour, it can go up in temperature. Then it starts to come down a bit. You don't really, I mean, you don't have to leave it for 3 hours. You can do 2 hours. And some people are so hungry when it's ready, they don't leave it at all. Or
Yeah.
now, but if you get the chance, leave it for at least 2 hours.
And it's true to say that is the story with most meats. If you want them to cut, even chickens and hams, if you want to cut them, the longer they're standing, they won't crumble and they'll cut much better.
It cuts better. You lose less of the juice, the gravy, the flavour. That's really important. And I've got to be honest, there's certain temperatures where you can taste the food much better. I don't know if you've ever tried. It's the same with tea, a cup of tea. When it reaches the right temperature, it tastes better. When you have your meat and your food at the right temperature. If it's too hot, it's taking away a lot of that flavour and taste. If it's too cold, it tastes different. And if you hit it just right, you get that lovely warm flavour to it. It doesn't have to be burning hot. It should be just slightly less. Bring it down, I would say, a warm to hot, but not burning hot.
Right, okay. Right. So
where you get your flavour.
Let's talk about your gravy. I love gravy, but my dad used to do his own gravy. Especially like he was the man when he was at home from sea. He would always do the Sunday dinner or the Christmas dinner. He'd always do the Sunday's meals. And he was a great man for buying the newspaper, glass of sherry, having the dinner cooking. That was his domain. But he used to always love bits of meat, even bits of croquet or roast potato, all in the gravy to give it all the flavour, and some red wine in there as well. And it used to be magic. So what's yours?
Well, I've got to tell you, not far off that. The thing about making your gravy is everybody's got their own little recipe. And
they do, don't they? It's one of those things that runs in families nearly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I pinch a bit from all over the place. And some people will think I'm a bit of a heathen. But in order to thicken my gravy, and you can use butter, and you can use corn flour, or you can make a roux, or you can use flour, which is also part of a roux, to make your gravy thick. I actually like to use turkey bisto.
Yeah, I've never used turkey bisto until I saw it, till I read that you were going to do it. I'm not doing the gravy, Nick is. So why use the turkey bisto?
Well, the turkey bisto, for example, it thickens it, but it thickens it with a bit of flavour. And so long as you don't over salt your gravy, because there is sort of a bit of salt in there, you're going to be fine. So I've got a nice medium pot here. The first thing I'm going to do with it is pour in my stock. And we do have some measurements here. I'm suggesting that you do a pint of stock, but that's not much. That's not much gravy. So what I've got here is I've got 2 pints.
Remember, it's Christmas Day. Everyone will want gravy around the table.
Everyone will, and if it gets left over, it's great still. So it doesn't matter. So in it goes, and we're going to put the heat on. Well, we're going to attempt to put the heat on because sometimes it plays up a bit. Now we're going to add in some bay leaves, just two bay leaves. In they go. Do you know what? I'm still not sure. I like to try everything, but you can't put a dry bay leaf in your mouth and try it. It's not very pleasant. And so I'm always trying to think of how that actually affects things. And it does, but I can't pinpoint the consistency or the flavouring of it quite yet. It's got its own individual taste. And we're going to peppercorns, about 5 or 6 peppercorns, and then about half a teaspoon of salt goes into that stock. I like to put in a dash of Leon Perrins, so I just
Very
give it
nice.
a bit of a shape.
And would you also add some of the juices from the turkey?
Oh my gosh, now that's absolutely vital. This is a base. While the turkey's cooking and creating all those juices, as it creates and it fills the pan underneath, you'll take it out every so often and very carefully, sometimes it's a two-person job, so the turkey
Yeah.
fall out the pan, and pour those juices in. As they come out, pour them in, adding those juices all the time, which will bring that flavour up and up and up and be fantastic. Now,
And just to say, people, when it's a two-person job, you can also buy in the chemist the big syringes and syringe her out and syringe her in. If you're worried, if you only have yourself there and you don't want to carry the whole turkey over in case you drop it.
absolutely, Mark, and that's a very good idea. Now, I've got some cranberries here. Can you see them?
Oh yeah, fresh cranberries, nothing like them.
Fresh cranberries straight in. I've put about 7 or 8 will go in there. And I've got a little bit of sugar because sometimes it creates a nice shine to it, like a bit like the butter, but it gives it just a burst, and I think it gets the cranberries not too sour, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
In here, I've got the bovril, and I'm not adding that till the end. And
So what have you got?
is we just kind of like boil this down.
Sorry, Nick. What did you say was in that bowl?
Oh, in there, that's where the bovril is.
You put okay. Now for those people with a palate, why use bovril?
You can use bovril, but I'm not using bovril. I'm sorry. It's Bisto.
Oh, Bisto. All right, okay.
Bisto brown seasons and thickens.
There's about 600 people running around the kitchen now trying to take the bovril back out of the gravy.
Bovril's great. You can use it on your roast potatoes. You can use it in your gravy. No harm done there.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting jug. Have you got one of those, Mark?
I do. I have one. Yeah, I have one over there. Yeah.
They're great, aren't they? They've got a little rubber thing here.
They're actually brilliant.
Brilliant. And then you fill it up. So there'll be a lot of fat that comes in from that turkey. The juices of the turkey comes from the skin and the fat that's in the bird anyway. You'll probably get that much fat. And when you pour it into a jug like this, the good stuff is here. And then there'll be about an inch of fat, which you can keep. But what you do is you just press this. All of the gravy without the fat comes down. And when the fat comes to the point at the bottom, you stop and pour that fat out. Now, I often add that fat to the potatoes just to get them even more crispy and tasty. And the gravy now will keep going. And we won't
tell me, while the gravy's cooking, because we've used goose fat, with the roast potatoes, are you a goose fat man with the roast potatoes or what are you?
Well, I loved doing it with, goose fat, a bit of olive oil, and some Marmite or some yeast.
The Marmite!
Mixed up around it, gave it a lovely crispy flavour. Some people say unami or unami. I'm not too sure about that word. But I've recently spoken to a friend, and he's a great guy, one of my neighbours, and he has changed his recipe. And I thought to myself, I'm going to try that too. So what he does, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Boils the potatoes in a stock. So if you're doing beef stock. If you're doing turkey, a chicken or turkey stock.
Right.
Boil it nicely. Drop into that stock some aromats like rosemary, thyme, but fresh aromats. Yeah. In they go, boil them down together until they get to that fluffy phase, yeah?
Yes.
Take them out and then dry them. And when I say dry them, those potatoes have to be really dry. So you can put them on a rack. You can put them into, if you've got one of those dryers that dries out food, sure, put it into that. Bit messy, but probably best to go onto a cake rack.
Right, okay.
Put a paper towel over them or something and leave them until they're really, I'm talking bone dry. Then they're going to go into some butter and fat. The best thing you can do is lard, or goose fat.
Right, yeah.
Melt that down and baste them. Then add in, we want something crunchy. So corn flour, mix them all round with corn flour. Then pop them in the oven, season them of course, pop them in the oven. There'll still be plenty of goose fat at the bottom, basting them round and round and round, and move them round as they cook. And that will give you one of the nicest outside, tastiest crunches on a roast potato you've ever had.
Wow.
I have to say, I've tried them and they look absolutely, it tastes fantastic. They're crunchy, they're fluffy inside, and they're delicious.
I'm going to try that because when I do my roast potatoes, I always boil them to a certain stage and then put them in. Or else, a lot of times I have slits in them so that when I put the oil in and put the salt in, it's going through the whole thing. I've never done it like that though. I'm going to try that. Now that's a lot of work, but if you have a small number of people, it'd be ideal.
It's worth it. It really is worth it. I can't tell you that. So my friend's name is Martin, and his roast potatoes sell out every time he does them. He's now having to cook the whole bag for 4 people. That's a lot of potatoes. In fact, they're the highlight of the show now. So
fantastic. And then go back to the turkey again. When a lot of people would probably ask, and we do it when you're cooking the turkey, to actually cut the side of the legs because the legs take a long time to cook. Would you recommend that as well?
Only if it's not cooked. I'm sorry, I'm just watching this. So people cut down the side of the turkey to open and get down to the bone where it's deepest.
Yeah.
The turkey hasn't cooked properly. And then they'll leave it in the oven cooking. I really wouldn't recommend doing it if you don't need to do it because it dries it out as well.
Right, okay.
But if you're having a problem, and I remember one year all the electricity went, there was some sort of surge, and it went right down, and no one could get any power, and I had to cut it open to cook it. But when it comes out, when you're carving the turkey, there's several things you can do to make your life a little bit easier.
Yes.
The first thing, anyway, is just to take all the stuffing out. Now, there's a technique you can use before you actually cook the turkey, where you cut into where the wishbone is, and very carefully, with a small knife, cut around the wishbone and take that wishbone out. It needs releasing at that sort of flat bit where it's attached with a bit of gristle. So you just cut that. And then you take it out. And the reason you'll do that is when you carve, it's not in the way. And you can.
Very good. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But you can also do it when the turkey's cooked. Perhaps it's not quite as easy, but you go into it, go round it, take out the wishbone, and then again you can carve down. What I do, I mean, you do need to have your bird stabilised. So I leave my wings on, but I cut down as if once it's cooked, cutting straight down the sides to take off the legs and the thighs, and then I carve the whites. And the last thing I do is to take off the wings. But a really good tip is to use a teaspoon to scrape off all those bits of turkey that are on the carcass, because it's a really, really good way to make sure you're not wasting your meat, and scrape it all off. You know, the oysters that are underneath.
Yeah.
And the delicacy that people really love. Scrape all that meat off, and then the actual carcass itself. Now, my wife's son calls it a tarkus. I think it's because my wife called it a tarkus at some point. She got him.
Okay.
It's part turkey and part carcass. But anyway, so let's call it a tarkus. Why not? Once you've got that, of course, you can make a fabulous turkey and barley soup with the bones. So
Oh, yes, that'll be nice now. That'll be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, if you don't want to, don't worry about it. Now, this is smelling fantastic.
Brilliant.
As that cooks, we're going to be adding the juices of the turkey. Everybody's here. It doesn't really matter. Adding, reducing. And at the final stage, what you do is you take your Bisto and you add it in. But what I think is very important to do when you add in this is to stir. Keep stirring. Now, obviously, it's early days for me to do this. And on Christmas Day, what will be happening is those juices would all have come in first. And I'd be at the point of doing this last thing. But I'm doing it now, so I can just add it in. And then you just stir and stir and stir. And it depends on how much gravy you've got as to how much Bisto you put in there. But it starts to thicken it. And it actually gives it a lovely consistency. What you're going to do at the last stage is pour it through a sieve, or you could pour it through a sieve before you added your Bisto, which might be a little bit easier because of all those berries, because of the peppercorns, and because of your bay leaves. You don't want to leave them in there. But we're really starting to get a nice thick gravy now, which I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, kids, look at that. Tilt it. Can you tilt it a bit? Bit more. Oh, yeah. Okay, very nice. Yes. And tell me, Nick, because there's a lot of work on Christmas Day, could you make that today beforehand?
I make it and freeze it.
Right, okay.
Because it freezes beautifully. It's one of those things, you can make it as a base, so your turkey juices won't be in it. So this I can freeze. When you want, you'll defrost it overnight, Christmas Eve to Christmas Day, put it in a pan, and then as you're cooking, you add the juices. So you've done all the work, really. I mean,
right. And if you freeze that then, and someone takes it out of the freezer, are you microwaving it, or are you putting it in the pot to melt it down?
Well, I like to just leave it to defrost and then put it in the fridge. But what you can do is you can melt it down in the pan, or you can put it in the microwave. It really doesn't matter too much.
Okay. Right, okay. So again, and just to say to people, we're going to be putting up now in next day too, just a timetable to help people when they should do things and when they should have things ready.
Do you know what? I think it's very important that people take the time to plan their days. So I've got Christmas Day and Boxing Day, and I want to know what I'm going to be cooking. So I'll start off with a menu. And then from the menu, I'll have all my ingredients and what I need to buy and where I need to get it and when I need to get it. And then after that, I'll look at the menu and I'll work out what I can freeze, like the gravy, like the stuffing. You know, it is possible to freeze fresh Brussels. I don't really recommend it, but it is possible to do it if you really wanted to. Don't freeze your potatoes. At the end of the day, vegetables, you don't need to freeze. They're not going to take too long. And
no, even carrots and all that. It only take a few minutes to cook those type of things. But you could cook the carrots up day beforehand. Like we like you, Amory always has a timetable here of when things are going to go on, when things are going to come off.
Exactly right.
Even for the day beforehand, a whole lot.
That's crucial, and the preparation is the key.
It is.
You mentioned carrots. Well, I don't know if anybody does this. Some time ago, Tom Kerridge used to have it in one of his restaurants, and probably still does. Now, what I do is a sort of version of it. I like to almost caramelize the carrots. So what's actually happening is you get those baby chantenay carrots.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can have big ones if you want, or you can cut them into rounds. But I like the little chantenays. You just top and tail them, give them a good scrub, and then put them into water that covers them. Then add in a good lump of butter. You can't really overdo it, but you don't need the whole thing, you know. I'm just talking about 2 inches of your average lump of butter. In it goes. Yeah. And if you want a bit of Christmassy feel to it, you can add in a star anise. You could add in all sorts of Christmassy flavours. But what I like to do is just have the butter, the seasoning, and then boil it all the way down, leaving just the residue of that lovely butter, which really coats these carrots nicely, and they taste really good. So it's a really simple thing to do.
Oh right, I've never done them like that. I'm going to try that and see what it tastes like.
It's really quite nice, and I do it fairly often, not just at Christmas, but that sort of thing. And with your peas, well, you can do all sorts of things, can't you? I do add mint to peas when I'm eating it with lamb, and sometimes it's nice to add a bit of chopped fresh mint just into it to revive it a bit.
And do you have cabbage at Christmas Day in the UK?
Do you know what? I don't have cabbage on Christmas Day, but it's a big thing in Ireland, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is.
What's about that, Mark?
And what we always say to people is, when you cook your ham, you have your ham cooked, keep the water. So we usually cook a ham in Coca-Cola.
Yes,
yeah, right. And when the ham is done, don't throw out the liquid. The next day, even because we use the ham the day before, and the next day, heat up that liquid, and when it's boiling, put your cabbage into it, and it just tastes the flavour of the Coca-Cola, the flavour of the juices from the ham, the whole lot.
I love this idea. It's infusing the cabbage.
Yeah.
Something that you've already, that you're using something which otherwise would have been thrown away, and getting fantastic flavour.
Yeah, and it's just, I like everyone does it. Like my granny used to, even with one of the things my granny used to make, I used to love staying with her, was pork ribs. So she'd boil pork ribs, right? And they were fantastic pork ribs. But then she put the cabbage into the water with the pork ribs. So when the cabbage is done and the pork ribs, the taste of the whole thing, there's all types of flavours through the whole lot.
Absolutely delicious. You can also get a pork belly, a slab of pork belly, and make up like a maple syrup glaze. All sorts of beautiful flavours in it, ginger, spices, allspice, all sorts of things that really have got a lovely ping to them. And then baste it and stick it in the oven and cook it, and baste it again and stick it in the oven and cook it, baste it again, and then you cut slices of that off, and that's delicious too.
That's delicious, yeah. Now I'm gonna take my cranberry and stuff it out, right? So this is the one I've had on for a while, so I'm gonna make sure you can see this, Nick. Hold on a second now. Can we make sure you can see this? Can you see that?
Yes.
Right, okay, so this is where I put the cranberries on top of it. There, you can see that.
The camera's a little bit juddery, Mark, and stopping at the moment, but I can see you've taken off the silver foil.
Yeah.
Yes, lovely. Lovely.
So the cranberries have all melted onto it. And like when you're dishing this up, like you can see there, look. It's fantastic.
It has got a beautiful colour.
Yeah, it's really good. So, and I'm going to put that back in for a few more minutes. The thing about this is, everyone around the table who likes cranberries and everyone around the table who likes stuffing, it's ideal for everyone. Yes,
absolutely. I think it's a great thing to do. It's also nice to have cranberries with appetizers or canapes. Now, I don't know if everybody's seen them, but these little canape shells are called crustades. They're very thin, very, very, very crispy, and they hold whatever you want to put in there. So on Christmas Day, for example, I'm going to put in some tama salata and a half black olive in one of them. I'll put in some Philadelphia with some smoked salmon in another one. And then the last one, what I'll probably do is have something like Stilton and cranberry,
Fantastic.
or perhaps a French cheese. Any
Yeah.
of the French cheeses, Camembert or Brie, with a little cranberry sauce with it, just to give it that Christmas touch. And they're just little one bites, but they
Yes.
put people in the spirit. That's something you can have with a drink. Talking of spirits, what do you like to drink at Christmas, Mark?
Well, usually we start off with prosecco, and then I'm on to red wine. But it's funny because Amory and when Amory's doing nearly all the work, the dinner ready, we only start really to have a drink after we've served everyone.
Yeah.
So I actually have more glasses of wine after the meal than I have with the meal.
Yeah. Now I'm surprised. I thought you were going to tell me you enjoy a good Guinness.
No, Christmas Day. No, I see. I'm not a person to drink Guinness out of a bottle or a can. I need to go to a pub.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
well, that's because you're a proper Irishman.
Well, that's probably it. So the next episode, Nick, what do you think we're going to cover? We probably have one more before Christmas.
One more before Christmas. And I think what we're going to do is go through a couple of tips. Anything can be frozen. What happens on the big day? How not to get too overwrought with too many things on your hob, too many things in the oven. Sometimes you've got to call it, make a decision. Do you make your Yorkshire puddings by hand? No big deal. But when you go off and get, for example, Aunt Bessie's, which also tastes extremely good, well, if you haven't got the time or the space, go and get those and do that.
And you're right, because there's a well-known supermarket near us is advertising that I think it's €95, and you can collect the day beforehand your cooked ham. So they cook it for you. It's glazed, the whole lot for €95. And if you're having a big group, there's nothing wrong with buying some of the stuff in already done.
No, try and make sure you get quality though.
Yes, that's important.
If you can, and a lot of these butchers actually cook the meats as well. So you can probably buy the cooked hams from there. There's a fantastic butchers over in Hove called Cannons, and they actually make a lot of their food. I mean, I've actually tasted the best Scotch egg in the world from them. I don't like to say that because I like to make my own, but it's actually better than mine. But don't say anything.
Right, okay, that's saying something. All right, brilliant.
The gravy's looking great. I'm looking forward to the next episode of the Bald Dyslexics.
And don't forget, folks, we do have a new YouTube channel called Bald Dyslexics. You can go on there, and all the episodes and some of Nick's stuff now has been posted up the next day or two as well. And we're going to keep adding to it. So it'll be a resource for you to go and find stuff if you need stuff. Nick, it's been great talking to you again. And I will be talking to you in the next few days.
I'm going to play us out, Mark.
Go on.
The Fabulous Pogues. It's a bit slow to start off with.
There is, yeah.
Listen, guys.
Still the best song ever.
I want to see you, Mark, in the next series.
Talk to you very soon.
Take care.